And now, the 5-Minute LA Sports Show with Bagman.
Here I am, once again. The papers are ready. I am ready to bring you the truth in Los Angeles sports. First off, let us congratulate Jump for LA Football Club. Ole. I've not been with you in a couple weeks. It's a different story. It's not my fault. They decided not to record. That was West. And they said, well, Bagman, if I'm not going to record, you can't, because we don't want your greatness to upstage our little thing. Anyway, different story. Jump for LA Football Club. Ole. You can see me in my office. I'm jumping from side to side. I'm holding hands with my staff here. We're jumping. I told you, maybe not in front of these microphones, but I knew they were going to be the Seattle Sounders. Seattle Sounders are on their way down. They're old. Frail even. They're stars. They're designated players. Ooh, the big designated players. Their big signs are coming off the bench. That's always a warning sign. If your best players, if your star, if your core is coming off the bench, you're a trash side. So they went to Seattle, took care of business, came back home, beat Houston. Houston. I'm sorry. Major League Soccer said, you know what? Here's what's going to stop LAFC from 2 straight Western Conference Finals. Houston. Is this the best you could offer? Oh, don't get me started on the West. That whole bracket was shoddy from the beginning. St. Louis, Paper Tigers, #1 seed. Oh, how about you do it again? How about you do it in another season? We're the best team in MLS. First of all, LAFC still holds the expansion record for the most points, so good luck on your wins. Where'd that get you? Nowhere. You got swept in the first round. And then we had the Sporting Kansas City frauds over here who beat them, who were one of the worst teams in the league for most of the season. So now Houston beats them, and they show up at the bank, and they get blown out. Anyway, so congratulations to them. Steve Cherundolo has done an amazing job. Amazing job guiding LAFC, changing that team, making that team into his image, which is a more defensive style, which is a more counterattacking style. High-flying LAFC who lost, and I was in person to witness this horror, who lost the 2019 Western Conference Final to Seattle because Seattle sat back and said, we will take all of your pressure. And the moment you lose the ball, we will go the other way. Jordan Morris was amazing. And they beat LAFC. And LAFC and this Steve Cherundolo, who wasn't even coaching them at the time, looked back and said, aha, behold, I found something. What if we do what they did to us? And everyone clapped in the room, and that's how he got the job. And now they are playing that style of soccer. So congratulations to them. Go take on Columbus. Do what USC did in 2009. Go into Columbus and come back with a victory. That's what I expect, especially as we enter Big Ten country. Speaking of Big Ten country, this is called an excellent transition in radio land, ladies and gentlemen. I have thoughts on our local coaches. I have in front of me the Bagman papers, which may explain what is happening in Westwood. Because many have written in and said, Bagman, please explain what's happening in Westwood. I will attempt to do so. If you're new to the situation, Chip Kelly has remained at UCLA. I was at the Rose Bowl. I joined West briefly for that killing against Cal. And the atmosphere around the stadium was much like, what is Chip Kelly doing? Does Chip Kelly still care about football? From what I see, Chip Kelly's gotten lazy. Chip Kelly's gotten bored. And he said, you know what, boys? This is what I see. When Chip Kelly is on the headset, this is what happens. He said, boys, do the run play again. And they're like, Chip, we've done it 5 times. He said, I don't care. Do the run play again. And they do the run play again. And then Dante Moore throws an interception. They say, well, this is why I want to do the run play. Chip Kelly remained at UCLA. Many people were concerned, were confused. They said, how did this happen? Does the athletic director care? Yes, he does. I'll explain why. Here are the Bagman papers. I have Chip Kelly's contract. His buyout goes down every year, which means that if you can suffer through several more years of this, the buyout will be less and they will fire him. He's on his way out anyway. But this Lincoln Riley, last week I told you I thought he was a genius because he was preparing the Big Ten to face this feeble foe when he comes into the Big Ten, and suddenly they're a decent team. But no, there's more to this. He intentionally lost to UCLA so that UCLA could not fire Chip Kelly. And then, as if that wasn't savage enough, he steals the defensive coordinator who beat him to come to USC. This man's a genius. This Lincoln Riley is a genius. We'll see you next week.
to the Informal program. Informal Overflow, the 5-minute LA sports show with Bagman, and whatever else they can come up with. This is Informal Radio. Pasadena, California.
Did we say the city in Southern California?
Legally, we have to. Oh, yeah.
We interrupt this broadcast for a show already in progress.
Welcome to This Week on the Informal program, a show that scored as many points in the Big Ten championship game as Iowa, and also will end up with as many New Year's Six bowl wins as USC under Lincoln Riley. Hey!
Live from a city in Southern California, this is the Informal program. Here's your host, Daniel West.
I think the joke they were going for was as many Pac-12 titles. Anyway, I don't understand. I don't get why we have a need to start the show roasting my teams every time. Root for better teams, someone says in my ear. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. Welcome to the Informal program. Another week here, whether you're listening on Informal Radio on YouTube and you just enjoyed Bagman, once again, strangely, praising Lincoln Riley, or you're joining us here on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening. Thank you so much for listening. Check out informalprogram.com. That way you can get everything. So maybe you want to hear the 5-minute LA Sports Show Bagman, and you're like, well, I went to the website and it's not there. Well, you can click on the Spotify link, or you can just go on YouTube channel right underneath there, Informal Radio, which you hear the imaging for right here. We have a situation this week. We will get to the words of the week very shortly. We will get to your letters in the first break of the show. But we need to discuss something both national and local at the same time. That's right. I'll get to you in a minute, News Snail. Chill. The News Snail came in this morning, and I've never seen him that excited. The entire day. He was waiting till now to record because he had something. I knew he was brewing something. And he looks at me right in those little beady News Snail eyes. Yeah, that was not offensive. I was trying not to be offensive. Were you offended? Kind of? Okay. Sorry about that. Understandable. Okay, very nice. Anyway, I looked at him in his small little snail eyes, and he looked at me, and he said, I told you I didn't trust committees. That's true. We had a committee here at the Informal Audio Network, and we removed it. The News Snail took over the words of the week. And one of the reasons okay, you can stop talking. Thank you very much. I noticed this last week as well. The News Snail just starts, and I don't even respond to him. You just want to hear the sound of your own voice, don't you? I mean, my goodness. I mean, okay, thank you. That's enough for you. Can we take him outside if he gets a little too unruly, please? Because yes. I'm trying to do the show here. And he's right. We did have a committee that used to pick the words of the week, and now we do not anymore because we do not trust committees. And that trust was fully broken over the weekend. I just want to do a thought exercise with you, the listening audience. I just want to make sure here. By the way, I'm Daniel West. I don't know if I said that. I'm Daniel. You may hear from Dave, John Beatty, the collection of characters in a minute, who's not the News Snail, just speaking because I heard you. Thank you. When you have news, speak. Other than that, they call you the News Snail, not the Take Snail, so please lighten up. I want to go through an exercise with you just so we understand the committee's thinking about what happened. And in case you missed it, I played this game with someone in front of some other microphone somewhere else, so you don't need to know about that. But I will play the game here with you now. What? Going to give you 3 teams. Team A, Team B, Team C. Or Team 1, 2, 3.
Well, maybe 1, 2, 3, since you already said, I'm going to give you 3 teams, and you give us letters. That's very confusing.
Thank you, Dave. All right. I'll give you Team 1, Team 2, Team 3. Team 1 is undefeated, 13 wins, 0 losses.
Yeah.
All right, we don't need John Beatty and the gospel choir back there, please. Just let me do this. We have Team 2.
Amen.
All right, and now, can we take him out too? I'm trying to do a show here.
Well, you've been trying for like 4 years.
Okay. Team 2, 12 wins, 1 loss. They've won their conference championship. I'm sorry, Team 1 also won their conference championship. Congratulations to them. So they're the winners.
We are winners!
Oh, for crying out loud. Am I ever going to get to this?
Whatever city Team 3 is from.
No, Team 1. It's Team 1. What are you talking about?
Full of winners.
Team 1, undefeated, 13-0, conference championship game. There we go. Okay, yes, great. Team 2, 12-1, conference championship winners. Yes.
Winners.
Team 3, also conference champions, 12-1.
Full of winners.
That's right. But. Stop laughing, Dave. You're such a juvenile. But Team 3 lost to Team 2. All right? You got that?
What?
Okay, yes. So I want you to take two of those three that I gave you. Team 1, undefeated, 13-0, conference champions. Team 2, 1 loss, conference champion. Team 3, 1 loss, conference champion, but they lost to Team 2. So which two are going to go in? I don't need our personal committee to deal with it. I just want you out there listening, wherever you're listening, informalprogram.com, on Informal Radio, on YouTube, or on SoundCloud and Apple Podcast and Spotify, wherever you are, just steep in it for a moment. I want you to do that blind resume check. I don't think the answer would have been teams 2 and 3 and leaving team 1 out.
What?
Because that's what happened with this college playoff committee. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention one slight detail that derails the entire thing. Team 1's quarterback broke his leg, so all of it's irrelevant. Is that what I'm understanding? Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, so now we have it straight. Just so I understand, if you break your leg at the wrong time, it negates a perfect season. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understood that correctly. However, riddle me this, committee member Batman, who will only answer in the form of yes. Although undefeated seasons apparently do not matter, when it comes to placing one group of 5 team outside of the traditional power conferences into the college football playoff bowl games, you pick the one who was undefeated over the 2-loss one because they were undefeated even though they played a worse schedule. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, very nice. And although you were tasked with picking the best 4 teams regardless of conference championship, or maybe that kind of is a criteria, you didn't put Georgia in even though you said they were the best 4 in the country for basically 2 straight years. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad we cleared that up. Let's get back to the word of the week now.
I think you stopped too early. The music's still going.
Hey, what's up? It's your favorite smooth talking DJ, Mr. Smooth. Keep it right here. There's more informal program after these messages.
All right, it's time to open up the mailbox and hear from you. If you would like to get in touch with the show, you can send us a letter. Informalprogram.com is how you get in touch with us. Excuse me for a moment. I want to get to your letters, but first the mailbox has to do this. Hang in there. Be patient.
We have a letter.
Thank you. All right, we had some poll questions this week, actually. These were over at Dan West Radio on Instagram is where you can find those. We should probably put them on informalprogram.com as well. That might be nice. A little bit of brand synergy since we're sending everyone to the site, Dave, but I'll tell you how to do it. Anyway, the first poll here, what did they want me to talk about? This was for segment 1, but we had some issues last week, so we did not record. The death of the Pac-12, overwhelmingly. People want to talk about the death of the Pac-12, so maybe we'll do that in an informal overflow or in future episodes. Should Chip Kelly be fired at USC? This is another poll question. 69% of you said yes.
Keep going.
You stop. Also, I wanted to get some letters in here real quick. Malcolm writes in. He said his big story of a couple weeks ago in college football is Cal absolutely smacking UCLA. He hates UCLA. I don't necessarily hate UCLA, but more of an SC guy. Nick wants to talk about the Mountain West Conference using computer rankings to decide their conference championship game. That was a wild story. We may get to it later on in Beanie Factoids. And finally, question from Nicholas here, who is not Nick. There are 2 different Nicks who listen to the show. Are the Eagles one of the worst 10-1 teams we've ever seen? Will they still make the Super Bowl? Now, he wrote this before the Eagles lost another game. I don't know if they're one of the worst 10-1 teams. I got to think about this. But
You're listening to Informal Radio, home of the Informal program. the Informal Overflow, the 5-minute LA Sports Show, and whatever else they can come up with. This is Informal Radio.
Back here on the Informal program, Dave's laughing at me because he thinks I butchered this segment, which is true, I did. But also, it would have been nice. We changed the clocks around here, but you know what you did not give the host was a clock that had the new clocks on it. So I don't mean to throw anyone under the bus here, but...
Beep, beep. Ow, no, Dave's been injured. He got hit by a bus.
I'm just saying, it would be nice if you say, hey, Danny, we're changing the clocks. Here are the new clocks. But nope, they're just expecting me to remember this off the top of my head, even though we had the same clocks for many years. All right. We still have not gotten any imaging. Are we working on new imaging for Word of the Week at the beginning of the show?
Yes.
Our very best are handling it.
So not Dave.
Okay, that was unnecessary. That was really, I didn't know.
Totally uncalled for. Totally.
Yeah, really.
I don't care who you are. That was just wrong.
Man, I mean, I threw him under the bus. You just jumped from the top of one of those WWE cages and slammed him. That was unnecessary. Anyway, it's time for the Words of the Week. For those of you new to how this informality and silliness works, we give you the Words of the Week. That's exactly as it sounds. The News Snail has compiled Words of the Week, and I'm being told that these are not just singular words. It can be words as in like words we hear on the street. So these could be some of the words of the week we hear. Anyway, we'll figure out together. We count down from 10 to 1. It's a fun way to do the show, and it keeps us in some form of, rhythm. And then also Beanie gives factoids at different points, but later on that. All right, number 10. The number 10 word of the week is, the word is, there is an edible mascot this bowl season.
What?
By the way, these are college football themed. Yeah, number 10. I believe it's the Pop-Tarts Bowl, which is not to be confused with the Cheez-It Bowl, although both are Kellogg products.
Yes.
Yes, but the Pop-Tarts Bowl, is it at the same place as the Cheez-It Bowl?
Yes.
You think so? That's the other thing. I'm very confused why some of these bowls, like the Sugar Bowl and then the Waste Management Bowl, are at the same, both at the Superdome, and it's like, well.
What?
Anyway, don't get me started. Anyway, there's going to be an edible mascot in one of these bowls.
So instead of it's bowl eligible, it's going to be bowl edible.
Do not encourage him. Why did he get hay? That was not a good joke. Okay. So that's number 9. Man, we're off to a good start. Coming in at number 9 is, they got in after all. Yes, we here on the show talked a couple weeks ago about how James Madison University was barred from being in bowls because that's what happens when you transition from Division 1A to Division 1. But they were like, well, we're good this year. We should go to a bowl, perhaps even a New Year's Six bowl, because if we're undefeated, the committee will put us in, even though they won't put in an undefeated Power 5 champion. Anyway, different story. And the NCAA said no. And the Virginia the Virginia Attorney General, maybe some of their district attorneys as well, said, well, we will sue you. And then it was a whole mess. There was some drama involved, and it all ended because James Madison lost to Appalachian State, which meant they were no longer undefeated and no longer going to be in consideration for all these bowls. However, thanks to the pure mediocrity of college football this year, there were not enough eligible teams to go to bowls. So they said, all right, you know what, James Madison, you can go to a bowl. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
We're going to see you in the playoffs.
Probably not. Coming in at number 8, the word is Oregon State might have a bit of a crisis on their hands.
Yes.
Head coach Jonathan Smith, who I think Bagman has some thoughts on, he left. He was a former Oregon State legend. He left Oregon State to go to Michigan State. He took many strength coaches with him. There was even a joke on social media that the mascot of Oregon State was also going to transfer and go to Michigan State. Anyway, the point is Michigan State has Jonathan Smith. Oregon State no longer has the Pac-12. They're down to the Pac-2, and they're going to play a bunch of Mountain West teams next year. They no longer have their beloved head coach. And if I remember correctly, they have maybe some debt on a new stadium that they recently had renovated because they were thinking that the Pac-12 money would keep flowing in.
Yes.
So keep an eye out on Oregon State. I never wanted this, even though back in the day before I saw the entire conference crumbling, which is not what I wanted. I just wanted USC and UCLA to be free of whatever that Pac-12 nonsense was going on. I feel for Oregon State. I didn't want this to happen to them, and I really feel bad for them. So I want them to succeed, and I want them to be good, but it's going to be very hard when, according to some reports, this Jonathan Smith kind of left town after he was like, yeah, I'm kind of here for this rebuild. So it's unfortunate. And coming in at number 7, the word is, this seems very low, News Snail. The word is that FBS, the Football Bowl Subdivision, according to the NCAA president, this is fresh, coming from the News Snail, is that correct? You heard him speak personally while you were here. How did you hear him while you're sitting here? I didn't know, really, snails do that. I didn't know that. Oh, wow. Interesting. I didn't know that. That's cool. Anyway, according to the NCAA president, the Football Bowl Subdivision may create a new category. I want to make sure we have this straight. I do not want to. Can you send this to me in letter form? Because I don't just want to read off a note card here. I want a scroll. I want to make this official. And if we have to move it to the next segment, we can. But I want to make sure this is official because, first of all, this should not be down here at number 7. This is way too important a news story for you to just kind of haphazardly throw in right before the end of the segment. So let's get that organized here.
Well, you told the good people about our friends over at the November Awareness.
Well, November's over, so I don't know what we would be discussing the awareness of. Thank you for participating in November Awareness. I don't know what the clocks are. That's the big deal. I have no idea what the clocks are. That's why I'm kind of struggling right now, because Dave did not give me the new clocks. Here's a live read. If you're a producer out there working on a show and you change the clocks, give your host the new clocks.
Will you stop whining about it?
I don't know what time we're going to break. That seems like a bit of an oversight. Anyway, we'll be back. Who knows when? I don't.
Indeed, it is I, the Grim Speaker, and you're listening to Informal Radio. Yes, indeed.
And now, live from the newsroom in Los Angeles, with unbiased journalism, here's your host, Bagman, with the 2-minute LA Sports Report. Here's Bagman.
Indeed, Bagman is here, and I'm here to discuss this Jonathan Smith. Now, in the 5-minute LA Sports Show, which you can find on Spotify or Informal Radio, just rewind to the beginning of this on YouTube, I discussed Chip Kelly. And I may have misled you into thinking that I approved of them not getting rid of Chip Kelly. I think that the man is asleep at the wheel, literally asleep. I went to a game recently, saw him on the sidelines. He looked like he was napping. He keeps sending the same play call in there. Run the ball up the middle, run the ball up the middle. And they say, sir, please stop. And he's like, shut up. I'm Chip Kelly. I know football. Run up the middle. You had a chance, UCLA. This Jonathan Smith, you let him walk out the door. You let him go to Michigan State. Let me give you the resume here on the Bagman Papers of this Jonathan Smith, this head coach, this team builder at Oregon State. You let him walk out the door. Born in Pasadena. Oh, where's the Rose Bowl located? I don't know. Pasadena? Went to school in Glendora. Where's Glendora? I don't know. Near Los Angeles? UCLA. You let Lincoln Riley bait you into not firing. You let him. You were baited into Lincoln Riley intentionally losing so they would keep Chip Kelly.
News when you need it. Opinions whether you want it or not. It's Bagman on Informal Radio.
Greetings, it is I, the Grim Speaker. Keep it right here on Informal Radio. Indeed.
Hi, this is Engineer John Beanie, and you're listening to Informal Radio. You get that right?
Okay, so clearly Bagman doesn't know the clocks either. Welcome back to the Informal program. This is a mess, Dave. This is a total mess. When are we going to break? When are we coming back?
I gotta consult the notes because I'm not sure either.
For crying out loud, this is supposed to be quality radio. That's our slogan, is it not? Quality radio?
Yes.
All right, welcome back to the Informal program. We left you on a bit of a cliffhanger last time. Let us recap for those of you just joining us here on informalprogram.com, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on YouTube. It's more of an audio experience on YouTube, even though it's a video platform, although you can see some fun depictions of the crew here. It's Informal Radio on YouTube and Informal Program on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, unless you get them on Neptune or something, then we're not there. I'm joking about the planet. I don't know if there's a streaming site called Neptune. If there's a real streaming site called Neptune, Dave, we need to get on there.
Yes, sir.
All right. Real quick, let's get you up to speed if you're just joining us. The words of the week. Bowl eligible. Or bowl, as Dave said, bowl edible. Anyway, it's a bad joke. Anyway, there's going to be an edible mascot that players can bite off of. I don't think we mentioned that part, but apparently the Pop-Tarts Bowl is going to have a real Pop-Tarts mascot that everyone can celebrate winning the Pop-Tarts Bowl by biting the real mascot. Anyway, it's real Pop-Tart. I don't know. It's bowl season, folks. Number 9, James Madison University is into the field. Congratulations. They're going to make a bowl, despite the fact they weren't supposed to. But, hey, mediocrity. There weren't enough teams who had winning records or 500, just bare minimum records to make a bowl game. So they said, all right, we need some extra slots. James Madison, you go in there. Congratulations to them. Number 8 is Oregon State. The word is Oregon State might have a bit of a football crisis on their hands because Jonathan Smith, the head coach, left to go to Michigan State. And they're going to leave the Pac-12, and the money is going to kind of dry up a little bit. And who's going to coach the team? DJ Yu. He has left the program. He's in the transfer portal. So who's going to play for them? Who's going to coach them? We don't know. Rough situation for Oregon State. We left you at number 7, and I have gotten the official letter from the News Snail. So let us go back to number 7. Yeah, there we go. Just hit the imaging. Waste 3 minutes of airtime with the letter that the News Snail gave me here.
We have a letter.
All right. So just to recap, the News Snail was sitting here on the floor, but he was also listening to the words of NCAA President Charlie Baker. Do I understand that correctly? Okay, because News Snails specifically, or all snails? All snails, but they don't use it for news. Okay, so all snails have a power that he was able to use to listen to the NCAA president in Indiana while we're in Los Angeles. Wild. And this is what the NCAA president has said. He sent it in a letter. So do you have the letter? That's the letter you sent me. Okay, let me read from the letter. He proposes a new football subdivision that, quote, would give schools the ability, easy for me to say.
Bruh.
I'm sorry. That was probably the proper reaction to that, actually, if we're being honest. The new subdivision would give schools the ability to arrange name, image, and likeness deals for athletes with no cap on compensation. What? This signals an unrestricted direct pay-for-play model that is a nod toward current lawsuits that seek to remove regulations around compensation. What? This is number 7, News Snail. The NCAA has just essentially said, you know what? Listen, the boosters paying you now. We threw our hands up with that, but now let's just make a whole football league. Shocking. Can we examine for a minute? Maybe we do this in the. I want to save this for the overflow. I want to talk about how quickly the NCAA rolled over. That's a tease right there. Stick around for the informal post show, and then the what is the name of that thing?
The overflow. Thank
you, the informal overflow. All right, quickly, let's get to number 6. I don't think the News Snail has number 6. Did we have imaging for the first? Who cares? This has been one of those shows. At number 6, the word is Liberty. We talked about it a bit, but Liberty is in a New Year's 6 bowl. Congratulations to Liberty.
Congratulations.
Whatever your thoughts are on Liberty, I'm not here for that discussion. I just want to mention that they are in a bowl game. Recently, speaking of the James Madison model, they recently moved from the lower end of college football into the football bowl subdivision, and here they are, and now they're in a major New Year's 6 bowl game against Oregon. Well, they'll probably get roasted, but hey, here they are. Coming in at number 5, I have more news from the News Snail. What do you have there? Breaking news, Texas A&M has a new head coach. Who is it? Mike Stoops, really? The Kentucky guy, huh? You have to check, but he is. Okay, well, that's interesting. So they went from trying to win a national championship with a former national championship winning coach to the guy who's been, like, decent at Kentucky?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, what's up? Oh, they didn't hire Mike Stoops. Who'd they hire? Mike Elko. Okay. That makes a little more sense. Defensive coordinator was there, led Duke. Still a bit strange when you give your last head coach a plaque that says win a national championship by this date, and now you're hiring. You know what? The defensive coordinator we had, he was kind of good. But good for them.
Number 4.
The word is Iowa is not great at offense. That may be news to some of you.
What?
You are not familiar with this creature of Iowa. Can you imagine what would happen? This is a thought. What would happen if the Patriots had to play Iowa for like an entire year? Would anyone score any points? You got nothing on that.
I gotta think about this. That's a deep question.
All right, we'll be back with the Iowa story and wrapping up the week. And then I'm going to go home and I don't drink, but after this show.
You don't drink?
Keep it right here. This is Informal Radio.
Today's show is brought to you by the month of December. Really, this is what we're doing? So now the November Awareness Committee is gone because it's November. It was November. Now it's the month of December. This is brought to you by December. 31 days of pure awesomeness. You get 2 holidays in one. Actually, more than that. You get... How many... What does this copy say?
They never finished it. It got to, they got bogged down into, stuff.
Please explain.
Anyway, yeah. We got Christmas.
Yeah.
We got Hanukkah.
Yeah.
We got New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
We got the other stuff people do.
Yeah.
We have cookie baking.
Yeah.
The month of December, I guess, sponsoring the show.
You're listening to Informal Radio, home of the Informal program, the Informal Overflow, the 5-minute LA Sports Show, and whatever else they can come up with. This is Informal Radio.
We're back here on the show.
What about my rap? It's gonna slap. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's why I was gonna just move on from it. I won't even say that you were good back in the day, but John.
Oh no, that's not good.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. He can't even string like a single rhyme together anymore. It's very sad. We're back here on the Informal program. We will not run down the top 10 so far words of the week. You'll just have to go back on your own time. Informalprogram.com, baby. Great new website up there. The guys have done a great job. You go right to the homepage. You see the latest episode right there on Spotify. You scroll down a little further. You can see Informal Radio. That's the entire show strung together. So if you don't want to find the podcast version, you can listen to the whole thing right there. It's wonderful. Informalprogram.com. We left you last with the story about Iowa, and then we'll get to the top 3 words of the week. There is a bar in Iowa that thought it would be hilarious to just give out free alcohol until Iowa scored a point in the Big Ten championship game.
Oh no, that's not good.
Yeah, a little louder, John.
Oh no.
There we go.
Oh no, that's not good.
Yes, Iowa was shut out.
Oh no, that's not good.
Yeah. So you can imagine how that promotion went. That's all. Coming in at number 3 is the word boo.
Boo!
Not in boo from Mario Kart. Not in boo as in I'm scaring you. Although if you're in Florida State and you hear the word boo, you may be scared. Boo as in Boo Corrigan. A name that will now live in infamy. Boo Corrigan, for those of you who do not know, was the chairman of the college football playoff. We heard a lot from Boo Corrigan, and Boo Corrigan was the one who delivered the news that essentially they didn't think that Florida State could compete without their starting quarterback. Because you know what? No team has ever won any title missing their starting quarterback. That's never happened. I mean, did you see what happened to the Eagles? Carson Wentz went down, and then the whole season was done. It was crazy. And then the Vikings, they lost Kirk Cousins, and their season was done. It was horrible back in 2018. Those two could have met in the NFC Championship game, but they lost their starting quarterbacks. It's a shame. It really is. Oh, I'm sorry. They both met in the NFC Championship game with backups, and Nick Foles won the Super Bowl? Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that. Anyway, Boo Corrigan is a name that will live in infamy, and the New Snail has him as the number 2 name word of the week. Coming in at number 2, this is a sad one here. The word is, this is the end of this era of college football. And if you think about it, it's really true. This is the last season where we will see the Pac-12. This is the last season where we will see divisional college football, because divisions are going away next year, because everyone thinks that the best way to decide a conference champion is by having the 2 best teams play, which means we're going to have a bunch of rematches of rivalry games we're already seeing. This is the end of the SEC on CBS. This is the end of not only the 4-team playoff era, but we could really argue the end of the era of champions being decided almost directly by some manner of polling or human voting. There will be a committee that picks teams next year and does seed teams, but there will be automatic bids based on conference championship games. So pretty much the entire history of college football, we've had some humans picking some teams, and that directly goes into who becomes the national championship game. That will go away, perhaps for the better in this case after what we saw over the weekend. But the point is, nonetheless, that this is the end of this era of college football. If you enjoyed what you saw this season, if you watched college football last season, you more than likely experienced the end of an era. And we will look back and say, wow, 2023 was the last time college football felt like that, looked like that, was that. And I think that is something worth mentioning. And now, without further ado, John Beanie at the Imaging, Word of the Week.
And now it's time for the Informal Program's Word of the Week.
And now, the word of the week.
There can only be one. Joining the likes of Dylan Gabriel, Odolis Garcia, when I mispronounced his name. That's where you could have played the hey sound. No, thank you. Road, as in the Texas Rangers winning the World Series, being undefeated on the road. What is the word of the week? There can only be one option to join those great words we have mentioned in 2023. And that, of course, is the word Alabama. Now, why is Alabama the word of the week? Because it's Alabama. Without Alabama, there is no college football. Without Alabama, is there any America? Is there any sport? Is there any life without Alabama? Alabama is college football. Alabama is the SEC. Alabama, nay, is college sports. Alabama is all of us. Alabama is you. Alabama is me. Alabama is Dave Rogers. Alabama is the New Snail. Alabama is the force that holds everything together. Alabama, in fact, was the force that inspired George Lucas in Star Wars. Alabama is the force. Need I say more? Today's show has been loosely produced by Dave Rogers. Audio engineering by John Beanie, the New Snail, the research department. I've been the host. You have been the listeners. Thank you for listening. Informalprogram.com. I'll see you next week, hopefully. Until then, bye.
You thought he was done, did ya? This is the Informal Post Show.
Oh, we have got to fix these clocks.
And now he just whine. It's all the show, Dave. Did you hear him? I call myself Dave. Whining all show, John. The clocks.
Yeah, because I don't need to know what time we're going to break or coming back. Or nor Bagman, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, it's a minor hassle.
A minor hassle, is it? Not knowing when I'm coming back?
I mean, you know. Great radio hosts adapt, man. Where's your adaptation? You're talking about Florida State out here. Hey, broke his leg. You should be allowed in. And you can't overcome the fact we changed our clocks.
Those are very different things, Dave.
Oh, really? Okay. I put you at number 5 on the committee because you can't adapt. Your starting clock gets injured, and you're like, I don't know how to get a first down.
And now, because 29 minutes wasn't enough, it's time for the Informal Overflow. It's the same guys just did that other show.
I think we need to change the name of that first of all, because it's more than 29 minutes now. It's 35 minutes, I think. I think we're delivering more content in the little extra time we have there.
Yes.
So many meetings to get to. I mean, yeah. You think the College Football Playoff Committee took a while. The meetings to get to 35 minutes from 29, those were excruciating. That's not why we're here, though. This is the Informal Overflow. I did not have enough time in the show, so I want to talk about just how quickly the NCAA just rolled over like dogs. We have not given enough appreciation to the fact that this organization, which is responsible for, killing off programs that compensated athletes too much because it was against the rules, is now suddenly saying, you know what we should do, guys? I got this great idea. We should create an entire subdivision that's essentially minor league football, where the players get paid whatever they want to, which that sounds good until Texas A&M is giving, players just literal bags of money. Like, you're going to see cartoonish levels. Like, there's going to be some 19-year-old in Texas running around with his own car dealership because he's playing, free safety for Texas A&M. But I wanted to just bask for a moment in how crazy this is. I think the states started this. The states said, listen, if you're not going to pay them, we will. And California and I believe Florida and a few other states are like, okay, listen, NCAA, come at us. If you don't want your tournaments here because we're paying all our athletes and allowing our athletes to benefit off their name, image, and likeness, you go right ahead. The NCAA said, well, you know what? Actually, you guys have a great point. Sure, they can make money. And then COVID happens, and then the floodgates open. Do you realize how crazy it is? I just want you to step back out there listening and just examine for a moment how crazy it is that we have current college athletes just casually just in commercials right now, like during Saturday Night Football on ABC and NBC. Do you know how foreign that would have been not 10 years ago, like 5 years ago? Oh, there's Caleb Williams with Dr. Pepper. Of course he's getting paid by Dr. Pepper now. I mean, who isn't getting paid by Dr. Pepper? Celsius commercials. It's great. I just marvel at how fast this happened. For years, Reggie Bush is still out here trying to get his Heisman. And yet, dudes who, were in school during COVID are now making millions of dollars, and we're just openly, coaches, talking about, we need more money because they're paying them more down there. You realize this was happening under the table not that long ago. Maybe I'm talking in circles, and maybe I'm the only one who's just amused by this, but I just had to come back here and just talk about it because I think it's funny. I think it's great. I think that maybe retroactively, maybe these lawsuits where people want essentially reparations with the idea that they were cheated out of potential earnings and they want those earnings, that could get a bit of a slippery slope as far as earnings are concerned with some of these athletes from, the 90s and 2000s who want their money. But I think retroactively we should look upon the rules differently. So Reggie Bush's Heisman, some of these Miami situations, SMU, maybe we start opening the record books and saying, you know what? Now that Caleb Williams is right there in Fansville, maybe some of these guys who, got a little extra on the side, maybe we should start reinstating some of these records.
Says the biased USC fan.
Hey, did I say I wasn't?
Nope.
Okay. And lastly, for those of you wondering, we will get this straightened out with the clocks because that was a disaster today, and I apologize on behalf of the show. Why am I apologizing, Dave? This was your fault.
Take responsibility like a man.
Unlike you? I mean, what are you? Is that a cell phone there? What was that, Dave? We'll clean that up next time. And also, I don't believe we did this because did we congratulate Ryan Blaney? I think we did. I don't know. But anyway, I feel like we've missed a lot here in the last few weeks. So congratulations to Ryan Blaney on winning the NASCAR championship. I think we did, actually. But let's do it again because he had his championship speech and everyone was celebrating.
We are winners!
Yeah.
Winners!
Whatever city in Ohio he's from.
Full of winners!
Not the one I was thinking of, John.
We know we're a winning city full of winners.
Ohio champions, I hope, will not be crowned, though. Columbus Crew. Go LAFC.